talking about the sponsorship, do you remember how much you would advise someone that want to come for PEC-G? The
Exactly.
sponsorship, what
Okay.
should be like, if you can remember or you can estimate in dollar, maybe $500, $200, whatever you can remember. But yeah,
Actually,
I
most of
wanted
the
to tell us what, looking back in retrospect right now, I wanted to tell, can you remember one of those things that you think is one of those things that actually made you to be selected?
Okay, so I think one of the things that made me to be selected was my
So while
transcript.
both of you were doing the language class, were you receiving money from the school or from home?
Actually, I was
Yes, I'm
receiving
here.
from
Let me quickly ask you about culture. What can you point to that is kind of the shockest thing you've ever seen since you came to Brazil?
Yeah, exactly. So ever since I came to Brazil, one thing that shocked me a lot was
No, there are so many shocks, right?
yeah, one of
The highest of,
yeah, the
of the
highest
shocks.
one is
Naomi,
the
what would be your advice for someone that is preparing to come to Brazil? He or she has never been to Brazil before. Is still thinking in his mind, or as the person is watching you now, the person is making the move. I think I'm going to come to Brazil. What is going to be your advice, sincere one, for the person?
Firstly, I would say,
So, do we have any school in Brazil that gets to pay students while the student is learning the Portuguese, the language rather?
in my
I have
time, you
none of
see,
that.
from 2024 to
Okay.
date, that is when you see they did some changes in the policies here of the program and all that.
Okay.
Because at first, if you come here and you take the test,
Okay.
the proficiency test, and you don't pass, you were not given any other chance to take it again.
Oh wow! You go back
were,
to your country?
Yeah, you had to go back to your country. Yeah.
Oh wow!
You were eliminated from the program, and then
Mm.
you'd have to go back to your country. Yeah. But from 2024 coming now, you have the chance to take the exam again. Because
Oh, there's a grace for
yeah,
you to retake the
exactly.
exam.
You
Oh,
have
wow.
another grace. Yeah.
How many? Like how many times? Or as
I think
until you
according
pass?
to the policies, as many as
Oh wow!
yeah.
Viewers
Wow.
at home, you're welcome back to this YouTube channel. This is Knowledge Plug channel for updated information when it comes to studying and living well in Brazil. So today I'm having two special guests, and I'm going to be introducing them, or they're going to be introducing themselves. Two special guests, so to say, and I'm going to be starting with the lady first.
Hey, hi
All right.
everyone. My name is Naomi. I am 19 years old and I'm from Panama. I'm currently studying naval engineering over here in Brazil at the Federal University of Pará, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Naomi. You actually introduced yourself like a Brazilian. When Brazilians are introducing themselves, they kind of mention their age. Tenho 20 anos, tenho... Okay, you're welcome to the channel. It's a pleasure, and I
Oh.
really want to appreciate you for coming. So over to you, my brother.
All right. So hello everyone. My name is Elisha. And since Naomi has mentioned her age, I think if interested, I'll be interested. I also mention my age. So I'm 22 years of age too. And I'm also currently living here in Brazil. I'm a student at the Federal University of Pará. I'm currently reading medicine. And it's a pleasure to be here too.
All right, thank you so much. One of the important things we're going to be talking about in this discussion is about how you guys find yourself in Brazil. I understand that both of you came under the program called PEC-G, right?
Yeah.
Which is, yeah. So I would like you to share your experience. And don't forget that one of the reasons why we're doing this is because we want people to glean, to pick from your experiences so that people that are trying to make move to come under this opportunity to can kind of pick one or two lessons, how you navigate, what you prepared for, what have you. So since we started the introduction with the lady, I'm going to be starting that with Elisha. Elisha, can you just tell us just tell us briefly about you getting to Brazil under the PEC-G program?
Okay, perfect. So thank you very much for the question. I was I think around 2024. That was the year that I got to Brazil. And I had that time I had completed high school. So right after high school, I didn't gain the admission directly right after high school. So I started working, doing some things because you see, you cannot stay there without doing anything. You see, yeah. So I started doing something. I was teaching actually, and I was doing some things. And then till the time that they opened the application forms for us to, you see, apply for the PEC-G. So I did the application and then I came to Brazil 2024. Yeah, that is when I came to Brazil. So to who doesn't know PEC-G, yeah, I want to take this as an opportunity to talk a little bit about PEC-G. Yeah, to talk about PEC-G. So PEC-G, as the name says, it's an acronym that it means Programa de Estudantes Convênio de Graduação. Yeah. So it's undergraduate student program protocol. Yeah, that is the translation in English.
Okay.
So PEC-G has been in existence for about 60 years, I think. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
it has been in existence for about 60 years. And it has received or helped a lot of students to come to Brazil, yeah, to learn. And then some of them have already graduated. Some are also in the master's program. Some are in the PhD doing everything, yeah. And some have also completed and are working here in Brazil. You see, yeah. So that is about PEC-G. So who can participate this PEC-G? Yeah, who can participate
But,
this
but
program?
wait a little bit. Before we go to who can participate, I would
Yeah.
like to okay, let me ask Naomi, the
Yeah.
beautiful Naomi. I want to ask you, how did you get to know about PEC-G in your did you mention your country you came from?
Yeah, Panama.
Panama. Okay, I wanted to tell the viewers at home, how did you get to know about, oh, is it that the president of Brazil published it in your country? How do you get to know about PEC-G?
So actually, we should go back to 2024 when I was graduating high school. I was finishing in a semi-military school system. So at that time, I had gotten a scholarship to go somewhere else. I got a scholarship to go to US, and I went and I started to do the paperwork, and then I said, I don't think this one is gonna work for me. And then I walked to the embassy. I saw the Brazilian embassy. I knew that they were there and they had some programs, but actually like only military related. But I wanted to know a little bit more. So I went there, they opened door for me, and I started talking to a professor that was in charge of the international programs. So he said, I don't have military programs right now, but I do have the other one that's called PEC-G. So I said, I'm 17, I'm about to be 18 in November, and I want to, study abroad. And also because the career that I chose in the case naval engineering in Panama is not as developed as in Brazil.
Okay.
Because we only have one university that provides this sort of course.
Oh yeah.
So in that case, I only walked in there and I saw it. But also we have another institution that's called IFARU. And that one is the one that takes charge of all the scholarships in Panama, talking nationally and also internationally. So whenever they have anything with any other embassies there, they start to post it. They say, "Oh, we have opportunity for you to go to India. We have an opportunity for you to go to US." They start posting it. So I saw the military one over there, and I said, and on Instagram, I said I should go there. I want to try it out.
Oh, wait a little bit. You saw the information first
Mhm.
on Instagram and you went there, or you just went there on your own to make inquiry?
I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, you saw on Instagram
But at that
first?
time, I didn't think about it.
Oh
I
yeah,
said,
I got it. I got
like
it.
I should go or not. And then when I was in the capital in Panama City, I said I will go. I'll give it a try.
Wow, that's interesting. So, guys, this is one of the reasons why we're actually making this video, so that people that are interested in videos like this, because when PEC-G brings out, when it brought out the information, it might not get to the nooks and cranny of all the whole world. So we are just like a subsidiary information carrier. So just for people to get to know about the information very well. So thank you so much, Naomi. But, Elisha, what language do you speak in your country?
Yeah, in my country, we have English as our official language. That
Okay.
is Ghana. I don't know if I made mention of my country.
I'm not
from
sure.
Ghana. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
from Ghana. Sorry for that. I'm from Ghana in the West Africa. Since you're from Nigeria, I think that is right.
I wanted to first, before we move forward, I would like you, and I'm coming back to you, Naomi, as well. I wanted to say a shout out to every, for example, who knows someone from your secondary school where you finished, the high school you finished from, someone might be watching you from there. I wanted to say a shout out to those people, and just say a shout out any way you can.
Okay,
To
so
Ghana people.
perfect. So shout outs to all my colleagues from the high school, CAS. Yeah, so we say Ahenema and then respond, Yetrimu. Okay, so Ahenema Yetrimu. So shout outs to Sodion Abba, shout outs to Oting, and shout outs to, I've forgotten about some of them, but shout outs to everyone. Shout outs to everyone that I know from CAS.
Thank you. Also, so Naomi, I wanted to say a shout out to your people, your high school.
Yeah.
And the luck you had, the man you met, that assisted you, and just go ahead and make the shout out.
Can I do this one in Spanish?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can. You don't want to do it in. Why do you want to do it in Spanish? I'm not sure if viewers can you under. Okay, go. Do
Okay,
it
I
in
will do
English.
it in English and Spanish.
Spanish.
Yeah. Okay, so hey everyone, it's me, Naomi. I think most of you sort of remember me because we were a very little class, I would say. We were only 10. So shout out to Dempsey, Kaiten, Yuselki, Victor, and everyone that's at home. And I want you to know that without you, I wouldn't have been able to come here and do all the things that I've been doing. And in this semi-military system, you learn that your class is like your shipmates, and if the ship is sinking, everybody will sink. So you have to work out together to come with a solution to resolve a problem, and just be always trying to look forward and not look back.
Yeah.
And in Spanish, hey, veo que sopa todo bien. Realmente quisiera decirles hola a todos los que estuvieron conmigo en el salón de clases cuando estaba en el colegio, en Fórmate. Lo lejos que puede llegar a Fórmate, ¿no? Y tanto que hemos hablado sobre eso, sobre representar después de que salimos, especialmente no solo el colegio, pero también el país de donde venimos. Y decirles que sin ustedes, mis compañeros, mis profesores y mis amigos y familiares que se encuentran allá, no hubiera logrado estar aquí donde estoy y haciendo las cosas que estoy haciendo. Y también que no podemos hacer nada sin Dios, que es lo más importante para nosotros.
All right, that's brilliant. Thank you so much once again, Elisha and Naomi. Now let's proceed with our conversation. Both of you have talked about a little bit about PEC-G. You've talked about how you get to know about PEC-G. You've also talked about how you make the application, and there was something we were going to talk about all the time. You were going to talk about the eligibility, criteria and some of that. I wanted to shape it in looking back. Can you tell audience at home that these are the things that actually we're having a conversation, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to tell us what, looking back in retrospect right now, I wanted to can you remember one of those things that you think is one of those things that actually made you to be selected?
Okay, so I think one of the things that made me to be selected was my transcript. Okay, so because the chance of you to be selected, it depends on the transcripts. Yeah, most of the time, yeah. Because I was talking about just a while ago, I was talking about the requirements for you to participate in the program.
Yeah.
And one of the major requirements is your age. Okay, so because the program, you have to be between the ages of 18. Yeah, it's from 18 to 25. Yeah,
You're right.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you would also have to be someone that completed high school outside of Brazil. You cannot participate in the program if you did high school here in Brazil. Okay. And then the other thing is also you also need a sponsorship term. Okay, so you need a sponsor, somebody that's going to say that, oh, I will sponsor you with this amount of money for every month for you to do other things. You see, to pay your rent, and then for you to survive here in Brazil. Because you cannot come here. Your mother is not here, your father is not here, so you won't come here all by yourself without anything. Okay, you see, and then be living on the streets and all that. You see, you would first have to think about your course. So the course that I thought of was medicine. Okay. So now you have chosen your course, the medicine. So you have to know, is this my transcript that I have right now, the marks that I had in high school, the grades? Does it make me, do I qualify for this kind of course? You see, yeah. So you have to think about that one first. So even before you choose the course, you have to look at your transcripts. You have to know the marks that you were getting in the high school. Yeah, before you know the course that you qualify for. Yeah. So I look at my how do you call it, my transcript, and I saw that my marks were good, everything was fine. So I qualified for this course. And then the application too, I made sure I did everything according to, you see, how it was supposed to be done. So I did everything correctly. And then with everything, all the terms, all the financial and sponsorship and everything, I did it. And I also prayed, you see, because I believe in prayers. I believe in God. I know that with God, all things are possible, because it's a whole lot of students. So they will just go. It's like a fisherman going out for fishing, you see. And you see, I will consider myself, in this case, like a fish. Okay, but not in the negative way, because
Okay.
as for the fisherman, when he goes for fishing, he catches the fish and goes and eats the fish, or so the fish is going to be in trouble. But this is the kind of fishing that we all want to enter the nets of the
get it.
fisherman, because you're going to get something better out of it. Yeah. So for you to get into the fisherman's net, it's not easy, because there's a whole lot of fishes inside that water body, maybe sea or wherever you see, you understand. So you have to be a lucky one. So that one too counts. So prayers, the grace of God, faith, and everything, because I'm a staunch Christian,
Okay.
and I was born in the church and everything. So I think that one also influenced in the selection. Yeah. So that's why.
Thank you so
got it.
much. Thank you so much, Elisha. So viewers that told me you can, in prevention, you're planning to apply for this year PEC-G. From a recap of what he said, you need to have a good transcript, and you should look at your transcript. Is it in line with any course you want to do? That is the first one. And two, you have to get a sponsor, right? You have to make sure you have a qualified sponsor. And he also mentioned prayer. That after all has been said and done, you also have to table everything, put everything into God's hands. So let's talk about the language, Naomi. I'm going to be asking you about language. You were I can hear you in Spanish, and it is actually very, very impressive. I want you to tell us, how do you manage speaking Portuguese? Do you speak Portuguese right now?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah. So I want you to tell us a little bit about your language. The most important, because you speak Spanish, I think your language journey might not be as rough as Elisha would have had.
Actually, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I just wanted to tell us a little bit about. Did you come for PEC-PLE?
Yes.
I want you to
did.
talk about PEC-PLE and PEC-G. You know,
Okay.
talk about and use the language to just differentiate.
Okay, so when I was looking forward to being PEC-G, they explained to me that I firstly would need to have the language. Because, one in the requirements, there's also that you cannot be a Brazilian and that you cannot be like a half Brazilian. So that means your parents cannot be Brazilian as well.
Okay.
So I had interest in Portuguese way back in probably 2016, 17, when I was probably 9 to 10 years old.
Okay.
Because my dad, he came to Brazil to study.
Okay.
I don't know which program he was on.
Under
That it
PEC-G
was-
too?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
They came probably in the late 80s, I would say 70s, something like this.
Okay.
And he told me, you should go to Brazil as well. It's very nice. He studied there. So he told me everything about it.
Okay.
And he tried to teach me Portuguese, just that in Panama, you put firstly English. English in Panama is very strong.
Okay.
Like in the area where I live, you even have like the menu in English. You have like the entrance in English and Spanish. You know what I mean? So we are practically bilingual.
Yeah.
And the thing about the language is that I knew a little bit, but I knew it wasn't gonna be the level that I need to be in university. Because in university, to talk on a daily basis, you have
Technical terms,
a type of Portuguese that you can talk, but when you're at school, that you have to learn all the instrumental and technical meanings, it's a little bit hard. So when I came here, Spanish is not that far from Portuguese. I know this is a fact, because when you hear them speaking in Portuguese, you'll be like, as a Spanish speaker, you're like, we have many words that they're similar. But then you encounter with something that in Portuguese is called falso cognato. That's basically, you have a word that's written the same way, but when you're going to talk with these words, it doesn't have the same meaning in any of the languages. So I encounter this a lot. I used to be speaking to the people, for example, at home. The first time I came here, I was living with a Brazilian lady.
Okay.
And I was trying to explain her some things in Portuguese, and she said, we don't really use those words. Those are formal words for you to write a paper. Just that in Spanish, we have our vocabulary almost all the time in Panama. It's like a very formal and neutral Spanish. Okay. So we are understood in Central America, and every country has its ways of speaking, their accents.
Of course.
And slangs. So we have a very neutral slang, I would say. And that's why I was almost trying to put together Spanish and Portuguese all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But people, that doesn't work. You have to learn the language. Because
for PLE, when you came into Brazil, you started with the language again?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so how long does it take?
It says from 7 to 9 months, I would say.
Exactly, yeah.
because we started class last year on March 11
Okay.
till October 20, because October 21st was going to be the exam.
Oh yeah.
So about the PEC-PLA, this is like a Programa Estudante Convênio Português Língua Estrangeira. So basically, this is learning Portuguese as a foreign language. This is not an undergraduate degree that you will get. So in this 7 to 8 months, you start learning and preparing for CELPE-BRAS. CELPE-BRAS is an exam of proficiency in the Portuguese language for you as a foreigner. So in this sense, Soapy Price has two phases. You can do it in 2 times a year. So the first one comes almost all the time between March and April, and the second one comes in October, November. I think most of the time, if not always, it's in October. So when we came in March, that meant that we have to do and write our exams on October.
Okay.
This 7 month progress, it's very hard.
Oh,
Even
wow.
I would say it like learning a new language is like for you to be a child on that language. You are learning everything from zero. And when you're a child, especially that, when you're learning a language as a child, it's very different from as a young person already.
Yeah.
Because a child, you don't know many things. And people say, we have a saying in Spanish that's like basically a child is like a sponge. They absorb everything, every little information you give
Yeah.
them, they will, be able to process it and start using it right away. But for you as an adult that has been only speaking 1 or 2 languages
That's
your
right.
whole life,
That's right.
to be now like in your 20s trying to learn something new, that's very far. I would say French, because I had a lot of mates that was speaking French, francophones and also anglophones. For them it was very hard. I would say twice as hard as it was for me as a Spanish speaker to learn Portuguese. But they do the effort, they make it work. But it's very hard. You see them, how you feel, how you want to express something, and you say, "Oh, I wish I could say it in my language." You sometimes don't find the words to say it in Portuguese. You don't feel as natural and comfortable in Portuguese as you feel in your own language. But then I would say that it gets better,
Yeah.
because PEC-PLE, it's a intensive course.
Okay.
So this one is like you start class at 14 hours and you get out at 18 hours every single day from Monday to Friday. And also when you have public holidays,
Still, you have to come
you
to
still
school.
have to come to school. And if not, you have online class. So it's literally non-stop. And I remember one of the rules in class were like, oh, if you speak one of this language, for example, me, I used to speak Spanish with the lady that came with me, my mate that came with me from Panama, and the teachers separate us from class. So we wouldn't be speaking Spanish
Yeah.
or trying to.
I think in retrospect, when you look at that's what the teacher did, you would want to say thank you to the teacher because
Yes.
he or she actually actually helped you.
She helped me a lot. This because also I was speaking English when I came. I knew how to speak English. I knew how to speak Spanish. So anywhere you put me, I was speaking a lot in those languages. But I stopped because it's not like, oh, I know this and my mate know this. But I was like, it's twice as hard for them to learn the language. So I need to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very extensive progress and process, because you also have like class that are outside of a room. You go and they make you speak to people. Since you're in University of Brazil, all of them are
you
Brazilian.
guys have some practical where you have to be taken outside, speak with people?
Yes.
Oh, like a
Discussion and all
discussion. Oh, wow. That's very good. I think we need to say a shout out to Brazilian government because when Elisha was talking, you said PEC-G has been in existence for the past 60 years. And
Exactly.
this is what they've been doing continuously, bringing people, they actually bringing people into their dream. And I would like to say long live to Brazilian government. Long live the state of Para as well. Long live our teachers because they are the what do we call them? They are the game changer, right? They are the MVP, the most valuable player. Thank you so much. So I want to ask Elisha something. Because when we talk about language, I actually want to ask you two questions that are very pertinent. I want to ask you about sponsorship. How much should be in the sponsorship account? But before we go there, I want to just briefly, right? I wanted to talk from the perspective of someone coming from an English-speaking country, okay? Because the perspective of someone from Spanish, from Panama, is definitely going to be different from someone from
An African country.
African country that speaks English, right? So, just briefly, could you tell us the progress how did you get absorbed into Portuguese? Because
Portuguese.
not long ago I heard you speaking fluently as if
Okay.
you are a Brazilian born,
By the
speaking.
grace of God.
So can you tell us a little bit, just briefly?
Okay, so I would say that, you see, I started, one thing that helped me a lot was I started learning the Portuguese right from my country, even before coming here.
Okay.
So I actually started learning Portuguese from Ghana. Okay. So there I was there. You see, I already told you that I was a teacher back then. Okay. So I was teaching basic school. Yeah. So I would also like to thank my headmistress and the proprietress for that opportunity. The school's name is Camwell International School, which is situated in Fly. Yeah, Bokum Estate. Yeah. So shout outs to Nana
Ghana.
Ajamai. Yeah, in Ghana, Nana Ajamai, yeah, in Kumasi. Okay. So that was where I gained a lot of knowledge. Okay, because you see, I was working with kids. Okay, so I was teaching kids how to read in English, how to spell words and all that. So I could pick a student or a kid that doesn't know how to read anything in English, and I could build a kid to a certain level that he could read a whole sentence and a whole story and all that. So I gained a lot of recognition for that. You see, there were so many people that wanted me to have classes, extra classes with the kids, and they were paying me extra money and all that. So all these helped me and all that. So I had that knowledge, you see, in learning a new language. Okay, I gained all those knowledge from that. So I said, okay, so now I'm planning to move out from the country to go to Brazil, and I know that there's an exam that is self-pibrized for me to take when I get here. If I don't pass the exam, then I'm not going to be able to start learning. So why don't I start learning now? Okay, so I started learning the language. I used an application, an app that is called Duolingo. Yeah, I know people who have been learning foreign languages, they know about this app. So I started with Duolingo, and then I was learning, practicing day in and day out. And then my brother, for information, my brother was already here in Brazil. Okay. So I got to know about the program through my brother because he was already here in Brazil. And then he told me about the program and all that. And then he had also left a Portuguese grammar book in Ghana. So I took that book, even though I wasn't understanding anything in the book because everything was Portuguese. I was like, I would say, "Ishtar, what is this?" So, but I was trying my possible best to, you see, yeah. So I was learning in Duolingo, and then the little knowledge that I got from Duolingo, I applied it with the book, you see, and then I was like, okay, so that's what they mean by saying that. Okay, so that was it. So I learned the language from Ghana, and then when you see the door got opened, and I was able to enter into Brazil. When I got to the airport, for example, I was able to say some things in Portuguese, you see, to ask some questions. Por favor, onde fica o banheiro? I was able to, yeah.
They understood what you said.
Yeah, and they understood what I was trying to say. They understood everything. Just that the difficulties that was having was the understanding, you see, from what they
because
were
of the
saying.
accent,
Yeah,
right?
because of the accent. So that was a challenge, you see. So I would ask the question, por favor, onde fica o banheiro? And then they would say, vai lá na frente, dobra esquerda. And then I didn't understand anything that they were saying, you see, because I had learned it from the language from Duolingo, and then from someone that learned something from Duolingo. Duolingo, the application, they read the words and the sentences, they read everything slowly. Maçã, o menino está. So I thought that was the way that the Brazilians speak. So it was when I arrived here that I realized that, it is totally different. So that was another challenge. So since I already had some basics, you see, some common knowledge about the language, I was just here to, you see, with that challenge that I was having with now understanding the accent and all that. So that was what the part that I focused most. So and the same thing as Naomi was saying, I also went through the PEC PLE phase. Yeah, so I did a course too. And then I would say that it was cool because one thing is the professors, the teachers, the course, they are very, very good.
Yeah,
They're very, very good people. They are
I think I
very
need to say
kind-hearted.
shout out to,
Yeah.
or you guys need to say shout out to all the professors, the PLE,
The team, the staff.
the team, the program itself, the teachers, all the teachers. You can say shout out to any teachers you
Alright,
can
so-
remember. Professor Eileen, Professor, I
Okay,
know
you know some of them, right?
I know some of them.
All right,
yes.
so shout outs to actually the coordinator, right? So Professor
You can say it in Portuguese.
yeah, Professor Elaine Pompeo, the other one was in
Professor
Professor
Isabel,
Isabel, Professora
Andrea.
Andrea, Professora Remind me, can you remind me?
Professor Gabriel.
Gabriel Machado, todos os professores
Do
do
programa
PLE. Yeah.
PEC-G. Muito obrigada.
Saudações.
Sem
Obrigado.
vocês, se a gente não tivesse aqui.
Se
Obrigada
não
por ter
fosse
falado não fala inglês, não
Exatamente.
fala espanhol.
Isso.
Okay. Então, vamos lá. So let's talk about. I would ask you the question briefly, and I want you to talk a little bit about it. Talking about the sponsorship. Do you remember how much you would advise someone that want to come for PEC-G? The
Exactly.
sponsorship. What should be like if you can remember or you can estimate in dollar, maybe $500, $200, whatever you can remember.
Actually, most of the time, whenever they open the application forms, it always comes with some guidelines. You see, some rules that the sponsor must have at least four. I think during my time it was 450 reais. That is the money that the sponsor has to send you a month. I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it was
Must be able
400.
to send you this
Must
amount
be able to
monthly.
send you monthly. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think because you would have to prove the sponsor will have to prove that capacity. So with the bank statement that the person will have to send to the embassy for the analysis and all that, it has to contain, I think it was $5,000.
Okay. What about you? Do you remember something about?
Yeah, and likewise, like Elisha said, in my country you have the guidelines, but in Panama we use US dollars as well. So in this time they said that at least they have to send you like $300 to $400 every month.
Every month.
But then you need to prove it, and I don't know how you call this one in English, but it's
Bank
like
statement.
Bank
yeah,
statement.
bank statement. Yeah, you have to show the bank statement, and at that time you have to have at least from 3 to 4K a month.
Yeah.
So why? Perfect. Thank you so much. So while both of you were doing the language class, were you receiving money from the school or from home?
Actually, I was receiving from my
Home.
brother. Yeah, from
From
home.
home.
Yeah,
What about
from
you?
family members.
Me, I had a
From
scholarship
school?
back from
Oh
the
yeah,
country.
yeah. You have a scholarship back from your country. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think there is a segment in the PEC-G form that says who's going to be sponsoring you. Do you have a sponsorship?
Yeah.
Like a government sponsorship or
Yeah, or anyone that's sort of your sponsor aside from your parents or your or your relatives. So yeah.
So do we have any school in Brazil that gets to pay students while the student is learning the Portuguese, the language rather?
I have learned that there are some, but I don't think it's in the north side. I think it's probably in the south side.
Yeah, actually, I know some people that received during my time. You see, actually, this thing started during my time. You see, from 2024 to date. That is when you see they did some changes in the policies here of the program and all that. Because at first, if you come here and you take the test, the proficiency test, and you don't pass, you were not given any other chance to take it again.
Oh wow! You go back to your country?
Yeah, you had to go back to your country. Yeah.
Oh wow!
You were eliminated from the program, and then you'd have to go back to your country. Yeah. But from 2024 coming now, you have the chance to take the exam again. Because,
there's a grace for you to retake the
exactly.
exam.
You have another grace. Yeah.
How many times?
I think according to the policies, as many as times that you can till you pass. But that thing is not something that you see.
I think it's a bait, it's a trap, because the best thing is for you to write the exam once,
exactly.
Progress with your study.
And that time or the number of times that you can write, whether you be given the second chance or third chance, it depends on the school, the institution. Where you come to. For example, as we are studying at UFPA, you see someone who comes here and doesn't pass, UFPA gives the person another chance to write. But I know some universities here in Brazil which even after this change in the policy, they still don't give chance to the people to write again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Recently I heard someone.
Okay. So do you know of a school that pays students while they're learning?
Exactly. And I just as I was saying, when I came, there was a guy that came with me from Ghana.
Okay.
And he was studying in Belo Horizonte. So I know probably I don't want to mention the name of the school. Yeah, it's one of the universities in Belo Horizonte. And the guy was receiving stipends every month. It was around 900 reais a month. Okay, so it was a very nice. Yeah, it's quite a good amount of money for you to pay rent and do other stuff. And then last year too, there was a lady that came here that I've been talking with, and I think she's around. Is it Amapa or Macapa? Amapa. It's here, Amazonas, right? Yeah, it's around. It's here, near Berlin and all that. And the girl too told me that she has been receiving some something from the school stipends. Yeah.
So, but by the time you're done with the language, like you've passed the language and you're starting your course, you can apply for stipends, right?
Yes, you
Exactly.
can.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
So with that, with that you
That's-
can apply, because one thing is, you see, at first
Mm.
people who were in the PEC PLE phase, they were not considered as part of the university.
Yeah,
You
you
see,
aren't
they
a
were not
student yet.
exactly. You're not a student yet, so
Yeah.
you don't enjoy the same benefits as the student, those who are just, you see,
Yeah.
in the
I get it.
undergraduate courses. You see, understand? So that is the reason why we were not receiving the money. But with the change of the policies,
Yeah.
now the schools have to, but I don't know if it's an obligation, but
Okay, maybe it's
I think,
dependent.
yeah, it
It's a
depends on the school.
policy that is dependent on
Exactly. So the school would have to, you see, decide whether we're going to give money to the student or not. So up to now, there are some schools who have, you see, adhered to that change, and some of them, they are still continuing with the old ways, and they are not giving anything to the student. But because I think it's not a problem, because before coming here, you sign that responsibility,
Yeah.
is a term and all that, the sponsorship term. So you make mention of the amount of money that you will be, the person will be sending you every month and all that. So when you come here, you can't say that, oh, I don't have money and all that.
yeah.
So does that mean that you lied during the
From the
process,
group,
the
yeah.
the
It
application
can
and all that?
actually
Yeah.
affect.
Exactly. Yeah. So one thing is, you cannot lie in the application. Yeah. So you said that you were financially stable, and then you have support from your family or a sponsor and all that. So that is why they allowed you to come here. Now that you've come here, you cannot say that, oh, I don't have that money and all that. Okay. And when you enter into the university, you see, after the PEC PLE phase,
Yeah.
as for the stipends, the one that I'm talking about, the one that Naomi just mentioned, that you have that one, you have the right to apply.
To apply for.
Yeah, we have one we call the promise. That one is specifically for the PEC-G students. Yeah,
For
promise.
foreigners, okay.
Yeah, for the PEC-G student. And then depending on the institution too, there are other stipends too. Yeah, we have one that
can
is
also apply
exactly.
for.
We have one that is permanencia, and then we have another one that is moragia. Okay, so there are some schools who offer these kind of stipends to foreign students as well.
Oh yeah.
But with all these, you would have to apply. You have to talk about your vulnerability. You see, I don't have money. You have
Or
to
maybe
fill the
what you have is
forms.
not sufficient.
Exactly, it's not sufficient.
Because but every year I think there is kind of increment in cost of living.
Exactly, yeah. So you have to show that.
Wow. Thank you so much, Elisha and Naomi. And viewers at home, there's something I actually gleaned from what both of you have said now. When you are coming to Brazil for PEC-G, it is good for you to just write the exam once and get it. That is just the beauty of it, because writing it again, well, I don't think it is cool, because a lot of things will, probably be affected. So just have it at the back of your mind. You can learn the language, and you can pass it. I even heard that both of you had a very good score. Let's talk about that a little before we talk about the course. Okay, so how is Cepribras graded? Is it beginner, advanced, and intermediary, and advanced? How is it graded? When you write Cepribras, are you just going to be able to pass? You've passed. Naomi, Elisha, you've passed, or there is a sticker or something that's going to be graded?
So actually, when we start learning about Cepribras, it's mostly rounding May and June. I think that's the time when we start to write.
Okay.
We start to prepare ourselves exactly for Cepribras.
Yeah.
Because in PLA, you most of the time from March till June or May, you have to be only thinking about speaking.
Okay.
Not writing that much, but about speaking, because they say, how are you gonna write if you don't know how to speak?
Exactly.
And that actually, that's a very good statement, because how come you are going to write in a language that you don't even know how to, you don't have the ability to listen to? So Cepribras has, I think, 4 grades. It has sem certificado, no certificate,
no certificate.
and then you have intermediate one, you have intermediate superior, you have advanced, and you have advanced superior.
So certificado is when somebody fails. Apparently, when somebody doesn't pass, it's
if you don't reach that target, you see, we have a target. You see, there's a mark that you have to reach. You have to get that pass mark. So if you don't get that pass mark, you will not be awarded with any certificates. Okay. So when you go check your result, it's actually when the results come out here in Brazil, most of the time, most of the results, you see, whether like a result for maybe an exam for the workers, the public servants and all that. Normally they release the results, everything like together. So you just go there and then you check, and all the names are there. So you look for your name. If your name is not found in the list, then it means you're out of it.
Oh
You
my
you were
God.
you didn't qualify. You understand? So the
Yeah.
same thing. So it's around December. That is when the results come
Came out.
out. Yeah.
Okay.
So every year December. So if your name
So
doesn't appear,
in front of your name, you are going to see the level, the grade.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe
It's
Yeah.
arranged.
so
Yeah.
if your name is not on the list, it's the same
It
certificate.
means sin
Say
certificado,
certificate.
and you didn't
Oh,
have to go to the INEP site to go and check whether you. There's nothing there. You will not see any certificate there. But when you see the list, we have from the top to down. We have the upper advanced,
advanced
and
handle.
yeah, and then we have the advanced. You see, yeah, and then we have the upper intermediate, and then we have the intermediate. Okay.
Okay.
So you check the intermediate line. So before you read the exam and you know what you wrote. Okay. So now you're going to check your results. So where would you start reading from, or where would you start checking your name from? Maybe considering my level, I think maybe the maximum level that I can reach is the intermediate. So I will just go to the intermediate
And
level,
look for
yeah,
your
side,
name.
and then I will look for my name. Okay. But if you
But
have
luckily you found your name in advanced
In
handle.
advance.
actually,
Yeah.
actually, I wasn't the one that checked the results, you see,
Okay.
because I was very nervous that
Oh,
day. It
wow.
was released, I think, around 12 a.m. You see, yeah, and I wasn't able to check that. I even slept off. You see, I was there and they were saying, the results will be released today. I was like, no, I don't want any pressure. Let me just sleep.
Let me
So I
sleep.
slept. So when I slept in the morning, I saw that one of my colleagues had posted my name on his stats and had marked me. See, so I was like, he tagged me, and I was like, so when I woke up, I saw that he said Avanzado clocked. And I was like, is that me? So I just click on it and I went to check, and it was my name there. He just, yeah, screenshot my name and then put it there at Avanzado. So that is how it is. So since certificate means you didn't get any certificate. Yeah. That is when you
So
don't reach
how
that
did you
target.
how did you get the certificate? Is it they delivered it or you print it out?
You
No.
print it out.
Yeah, you
Oh,
print it
but
out.
it has a
Yeah,
barcode
actually, there's a
for
site.
verification, right?
Yeah, there's a site there that is INEP, right?
In a yeah.
Yeah, so you have to go to the INEP. You see, that is the same site where you did the registration for the exam.
Okay.
So when the results come, as for the list, it is there at the it's open to everyone. You see, it's there available for everyone to have access. Yeah, the list. You just go to the internet and type resultados CEPIBRAS 2024, and then you just put it there, and then it's gonna appear.
Wow.
You just have access to it. Everybody, so even your parents can go and check it. So this one you cannot
There's no
hide it from
hiding.
anyone.
Uh-huh.
You
No,
understand?
you
Yeah,
cannot
you
lie.
cannot hide it from anyone, so, because everybody has access. Now, after you found your name in the list, now you'd want to print your certificate. Then you have to enter into the INEP site. You go there and then you put your logins and everything. Then you enter and then you print your certificate.
Wow. Thank you so much for your insights. Okay, so let's talk about the culture and how you guys are getting by with Brazil, right? I'm gonna start with Naomi. I want us to manage our time very well. So Naomi, how are you? Naomi, how are you getting along with Brazil culture? Is it shocking? Is it something you're familiar with already?
Okay, there is, I would say, a 50-50 part. Like, there are some things that you are familiar with, but there are so many things that you don't even know they exist till you come here. So back in Panama, I would say we are still very, in America, we're still like a very traditional country.
Okay.
Because, for example, religion is still very strong. We don't have as many, how do you call this? Like, liberty of expression in the sense that a Brazilian has. Because we have a liberty of expression,
Yeah, the
in
free
but we
will.
don't have many, many, many things that we can do. Like, for example, a culture shock for me was like when you go to high school and you go to middle school, you can have your hair dye out. You can have your nail. You can, like, as a lady, you can do your nails. You can do makeup. You can go with clothes like you go as like in civil clothes.
Yeah.
In Panama, even if it's public, private, anything, you go with the uniform. You cannot have makeup. You cannot do your nails. You cannot dye your hair. Not saying like cut or do something extravagantly with it. So I was very shocked when I saw like little ladies, 14, 15 years. And they will be this whole style. It will make them look like a 20, 21-year old.
Yeah.
For me, it was something like, wow. Like, aside from the language. And also, there are things that we do that they don't do. I would say the school system is different because most of the time I see people here getting out of high school 17 years old,
Okay.
16, 17.
They get to high school. Right?
16, 17, they go to university already. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Because I graduated, I finished high school when I was 18, fresh out at 18. Everybody 18, 19. Then and that's another thing. We in Panama, we don't have this thing like culture. I finished studying and now I would see what I want to do.
Yeah.
When you finish, you need to know what you're going to do in university, what you like, everything. I remember when I was in primary school, 12, I was 12 years old, sixth grade, fifth grade. Everybody was like, so you're going to high school. What are you going to choose in high school? You want science, you want marketing, you want this, you want that, so you can go to university and you know what to do. You are 12 years old and they're already talking about university.
Yeah.
Over here, you have more space for creativity. I think the other day I was talking to you about this. Like in Panama, you are focused on math, you are focused on politics, science, you are focused on geography, you are focused on all these things. It's not like Brazilians, they don't do it, but they do it creatively. They have like this passion, drawing, singing. You have many things. They're very creative. They do have this space, I would say, in the big picture where they can be themselves and still study. So like you can learn your way at school.
Wow.
I would say back at home we are still like in a very strict sort of way of learning and everything about school system.
Thank you so much, Naomi, for sharing your insights. Now I'm going to be asking Elisha, because I know the dishes in Ghana, they are totally different from what we have in Brazil.
Yeah.
How do you integrate into Brazil food?
Yeah.
Or you still get food from Ghana?
No, I don't get food from Ghana.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. How are you integrating?
Actually, when I came here for the first time, it took me for about 2 weeks, to be able to eat.
2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks,
Oh.
because I used to go to the restaurants, the university restaurants, and I wasn't able to eat the beans. Even here, you see, the how do you call it? The food is not that different from that of my country. You see,
Okay.
yeah.
What about the flavor?
The flavor is different. Yeah, that's the point. You see, the food is not. You see, the food styles. You
Okay,
have
like
all
we
of
have
them
the
here.
food items, the food
Exactly.
stuff.
So we have the food stuffs
but the
here,
flavor is
but the
different.
flavor, because they use different spices, they use different seasonings. You understand? Yeah, to prepare the food. So, and even the beans here. When I first went to the university restaurant, the beans, it was kind of different. You see, I found it very strange. Yeah, what kind of beans is it? So I wasn't able to eat it for like 1 week or 2 weeks. Yeah, and then later on, that is when I got to adapt, and then I was able to eat it. And it was later on that I found out that they have this specific type of beans that we use in our country.
Yeah.
They have some at the supermarket, so you just have to go and buy some.
And look for the one you're familiar with.
Exactly, the one that you prefer. So actually, all the foodstuffs, I would say like 90% of the foodstuff that we use in Ghana, we have some here. Yeah.
Okay.
We even have yam. You see, we have up to yam, we have plantain, cassava. Ghanaians, we like fufu a lot. Yeah. And our fufu is not like the Nigerian fufu, you understand? Yeah, our fufu, we eat with soup. Okay. Yeah. It's watery soups, but we can get some here.
Let me quickly ask you about culture. What can you point to that is kind of the shockest thing you've ever seen since you came to Brazil?
Yeah, exactly. So ever since I came to Brazil, one thing that shocked me a lot was
No, there are so many shocks, right?
Yeah, one of
the highest.
The highest
shocks.
one is dressing. You see, yeah.
So, as regard what you just mentioned, I believe that each country have their own way of dressing, and one thing I've noticed about Brazil is that their dressing style is more relaxed, right?
Exactly.
For example, from my country, if you're going for any official event, you have to tuck in your shirt, put on a tie, put on a suit if possible. But in Brazil, it's not like that. The dressing in Brazil is relaxed. People don't you don't have to break the bank before you can dress to any event. And it's actually cool. For me, it's shocking. At the same time, I find it good. So there's no problem. We're just talking about what is shocking, what is kind of strange to where I'm coming from. So thank you so much, Elisha, for sharing with us what you've observed. And on a final note, now we are rounding up. I want you to what would be your let's start with Naomi. What would be your advice for someone that is preparing to come to Brazil? This hypothetical person is in Panama, right? What would be your advice for the person? he or she has never been to Brazil before, is still thinking in his mind, or as the person is watching you now, the person is making the move. I think I'm going to come to Brazil. What is going to be your advice, sincere one, for the person?
Firstly, I would say, if you're a believer, have God in your heart, because going out of your country is not easy. It's never easy. It doesn't. It just get easier with time. Like, you will still miss your family, you will still miss your friends. I would say, if you are watching me from Panama, you want to come, don't bring the clothes that you go to, the interior side of the country. Over here, it's very hot. I would say also try to learn some things back at home and open your mind to new things.
Sorry.
Because
Over here is very hot. Are you generalizing this statement or for your states? Over here, we're talking about Brazil.
Brazil, yeah, we're talking
So-
about Para. I don't know about any other state, but
because
here is
because I know
hot.
because I know some
Yeah, the northern
regions.
part.
In the north side, prepare yourself. This is like going, I would say this is like Panama City on a normal day, midday, 37 degrees, something like that. This is very hot every day. So prepare. Try to keep in touch with your friends from back home if you're coming here. Always have, keep in touch with your language, even though you are learning Portuguese, because you will realize from time to time that when you're learning new languages, you sort of get, bad with your own. You forget some things in your own.
So what about you, Elisha? What would you advise someone that is coming from Ghana?
All right. So I would say that the most important thing is about the language barrier, you see, because if you come here and your Portuguese is not good, you're going to suffer a lot. So I think the most important thing that the person has to, like, you see, value, okay, or consider the most is the language. Okay, so just start learning from Ghana. You see, start learning the language, and then also be prepared, you see, to have all these culture shocks here that we're talking about. You see, yeah, because you'll find new things you hear in Brazil. There are so many things that happen here that you will not find like something that is common. You find them indecent and all that, like the way of dressing and all that, the
Or
way that they talk.
you won't find
Yeah.
them normal.
Exactly, you won't
Yeah.
find it normal. And then you see sometimes the relationship between the parent and the children too. You see, you think that, this child is very disrespectful, but it's their culture. You see, you cannot come here and tell the child what to do and all that. You see, it's not the same as in your country. Okay,
Yeah.
when you come here, you have to know all these things. Be prepared to like have meet a different culture and different people and all that. But Brazilians are very loving people. They're very loving people, and they're very receptive as well, especially here in Para. They're very good people. You see, if you need anything, you can count on them. They're just going to help you out. So Brazil is a very nice country. So just be prepared, be happy that you will be selected. Yeah, and I pray that by the grace of God, you'll be selected. You, someone inside your house, or I don't know, YouTube, wherever you're watching us from. I know that God is going to help you to get selected. And so just be happy that you will come to Brazil very soon.
Okay, thank you so much. And that reminds me that one of the things I've seen about Brazilians, like every Brazilians that I've met, and I'm saying this with all sincerity.
Okay.
There's something I've noticed about Brazil. They are kind of willing to help.
Yeah,
Like they have
Yes.
this willing, like,
that's you too.
there's this common phrase, qualquer coisa.
Qualquer coisa, me
Qualquer
liga.
So
Qualquer
I think
coisa.
I like Brazilians for that. They are very loving people. I've also, in any country, we also have some people that are on the extreme. But in general, this is how Brazilians are. They can go extra mile for you.
Yeah.
I've talked about something in one of the videos that I made in the past. I said sometimes when Brazilians is helping you, they can get to his stuff and they will lock up.
Yeah.
That's that. But in general, Brazilians can be of help. They are usually willing to help, especially when they know that you are a stranger.
Exactly.
So that's a very good. And this thing actually it is something that is reflecting in the teachers. Of course, the teachers are also Brazilians. So you see teachers say, no, fica à vontade, if you're. So I say this a lot in the teachers, like the way the classroom settings in Brazil is totally different from the way it is in my country. There is this pressure in your mind as a student, or maybe when you are even seeing a cane, on the table, on the desk of a teacher. This is how we instill discipline in my country. But
Exactly.
it is not like that in Brazil.
Very different.
The environment is very relaxed, so to say.
Yes.
When you can come to class, you can even come to class where a teacher is teaching, you can be sleeping.
They won't say
They won't say,
anything.
No one
they,
cares.
You can use your phone. They
you
won't
can
say
they
anything.
won't say anything.
No one
Sometimes I
cares.
wonder to myself that how is examination being assessed thoroughly, in Brazil. But if you look at this thing very well, they actually have a very standard education system.
Yeah.
Like the content is standard. You understand the content of what they are teaching you. They teach you everything you need to know at every level. You get to. So I think I found that impressive about Brazil, and it's a good thing. So guys, viewers at home, if you are watching this video, it's a pleasure, and you've heard from people that are currently students here in Brazil. I'm also a student as well, and they are telling you one of the things that can make you to be selected if you are especially planning to apply for PEC-G. And of course, they've also shared like a fair share. They are sharing with you some of the cultural shocks, and I know people that want to apply for PEC-G right now, they are kind of concerned about, how much should I have in my account? What are the documents that I need? How do I send document to my embassy and what have you? So the truth is that until when you make a move, you might not know what is next. So just make a move. And if you have any question, don't forget to drop in the comment section below, and I will be swift to respond to your questions. I would like you to give a vote of I would like you to give like your final word. Might not be a vote of thanks. What's your final remarks? Final remarks. So, Elisha, what's your final remarks?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank you very much for the privileges and the opportunity given to me, to be here. And thank you very much, my audience, too, for getting time to hear from me. And I think it was very nice to see, sharing my experience with you. And
But I'm sure someone wants to connect with you. Would you mind sharing your Instagram?
my Instagram, my Instagram
And
is L Socrates. Okay, so EL_Socrates. Okay, so EL_Socrates. Okay,
all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elisha. So over to you, Naomi.
Okay, so I would like to do my final remarks as also whenever you think about Brazil, you think about very bright colors, very vibrant culture, like everybody, they're nice, they're warm. And I have experienced that. But not only with Brazilians though, because last year, if you remember, I came and studied the Portuguese language and I was hanging out with Africans a lot. So I would say be open to learn not only about Brazilian culture, but about another people culture. Like you have Africans, you even have Asians as well over here. Europeans, you don't see that much, but they are still in university.
Yeah.
And it's so nice because I learned so many things. And I think last year I lived with a Ghanaian. Shout out to Auntie Priscilla if you are watching. I'm sure you watch. This woman, she is a Ghanaian lady, and I think she's almost in her 30s, and she came and studied. And boy, it was amazing.
Amazing.
Living with her, she kept me online, because when you are young, sometimes you do things out of a stupidity, and it's not okay. So she was like, "Hey, remember what you came here for? What are you doing?" She said, "Labubu, come and help me now. Haven't you done enough?" But I will tell you, she and all of my classmates are the best thing that happened to me because they say you cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
You have God, but you cannot be only you, yourself, and God. It's not. You have to talk to people. You have to, because how are you going to, get in touch with the language in your classmates? How are you going to talk to your classmate if you speak English and I don't speak English, or you speak French and I don't speak French? You have to use the Portuguese.
Yeah.
Now it's say, come here with your mind and your heart open because this is an experience that you will never forget.
Yeah.
You will never forget. So shout out to all my classmates from last year, to all my veterans as Elisha. I remember I saw Elisha, hey, how are you? And, you speak English. I started talking right away.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me here. You guys, if you want to have my Instagram, I think you need to jot it down on the description.
Yeah, I'm gonna put on the.
Yeah, because it has my last name and it's in Spanish and probably will be.
Do you mind calling it right now?
Yeah, it's Naomi Urriola. So it will be ITSNAOMA and URRIOLA. Yeah, it's about
Thank you
that.
so much. And guys, if you want to pronounce that name, don't just say Oriol. You must learn to Riol.
Uriola, yeah.
Yeah, you have
Okay.
to. Yeah, the R
So-
sound.
Viewers, thank you so much once again for watching this video to this point in time. If you're here to comment or if you're here to subscribe, don't forget to subscribe. And if there's any if there's any information you need to know, put it right there in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Até breve. Ciao, ciao.
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 Okay.